Fantastic. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining us. I should probably just introduce you again, because there'll be some people at church that haven't met you guys before and haven't met Elena in person before.
Yeah.
So we first met Jason when we were both working for AFES, I think.
Yeah.
And I guess the one thing that struck me about Jason was that he always had a steadfast passion for evangelism. And Jason and Elena are in the process of going to work for students in Italy.
I'm
sorry?
Hannah.
Hannah, sorry. Oh, sorry, look, that was messed up already.
We'll introduce Elena. Hang on.
I don't know where I got that from. That's Elena, sorry. Sorry, Hannah. Yeah. Apologies for that. But Jason and Hannah are in the process of working for students in Italy with CMS, the Church Missionary Society. And so obviously you guys are married with kids. Can you tell us a little bit about your family and make sure we get the kids' names right?
Yeah. So this is Elena. She is 16 months.
Yep.
But she's wandering around and having fun. So she's our only little daughter at the moment. Yeah.
Great. And have you guys got a favourite lockdown activity as a family?
Elena loves whizzy dizzies. We don't tend to do it inside. We tend to go outside for that one. But yeah, that's a favourite one at the moment.
It's always a fine line, isn't it, with whizzy dizzies? Is it between fun and nausea and a mess?
yeah, exactly.
We love singing together too.
We do.
Singing?
The family, yeah.
Yep, excellent.
Bit of guitar and that kind of thing.
Oh,
Jason plays a little bit of guitar, so.
Yes, that's right, I remember. Fantastic. And so before you guys were looking at full-time ministry, what were you doing?
I was an electrical engineer doing some building consulting. And Hannah?
And I was an occupational therapist and then an early childhood teacher.
Fantastic. Big change, I guess. Jason was an AFES apprentice and he studied at Trinity.
That's right.
So at the moment, how do you guys spend your week? How do you spend your time?
Yeah, so I've just finished at the end of last year doing my Trinity studies. So I've done the 3 years of study and I'm working for AFES a little bit now. But most of the week I spend looking after Elena. So I'm working at, it's actually a Christian college, a small one called Sheridan, but 90-something% of the students are not Christian, and they're from all over the world. So yeah, almost entirely international students. So I'm looking for ways to share the gospel with them. Yeah.
And how do you go about that? I guess with the college, it's I think particularly not they don't spend a lot of time on campus, do they? And now, obviously, with the lockdown, how do you go about ministry then?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's what we're trying to still work out. So lots of it is through the contacts that we've got already. So Christian students who have contacts there, and also because it's a Christian college, the staff are working alongside us. So I'm working with AFES. I'm not staff there, but the staff are helping us out by letting the students know of opportunities to explore Christianity with us and to join our weekly Bible meeting and those sorts of things. So some of the students have actually taken them up on that. And the student governance body is also in on it. They've got some Christians who are coming to our meeting and they're telling the rest of the students about what we do. So it's been really encouraging actually to see how God's able to do work even during lockdown.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that sounds must be strange, I suppose. Like obviously getting that support from the college that AFES doesn't get from Curtin, Murdoch.
Yes, it's fantastic actually. Really good. Yeah.
And Hannah, what about yourself?
Well, I'm finishing my studies at Trinity. So, so I'm doing lectures and assignments and readings all online. And that's
you're finishing this year? You're finishing this year?
Yeah, this semester.
Yeah, excellent. Maybe just while we're on Trinity, is there if you could narrow it down to one thing, I know that's hard, but what's been the benefit for you going and spending 3 years at Trinity?
Yeah, the benefit. Wow. I think it's just a really solid grasp of the Bible and a better understanding of how everything fits together. I just feel like when people ask me questions now, I'm able to articulate a response far more clearly than I could have before I went to Trinity. And that comes out in a variety of ways, but that's the main thing.
Right. And Hannah?
Yeah, I've just done the 1 year, but I've also just found like spending that time in God's Word. I'm just more familiar with it, more of an idea of what's in there, and what God says on things that come up in everyday life as I'm chatting with other people, and it's been helpful for that.
And so you guys are looking at working with students in Italy. So that's through the Italian version of AFES.
Yep.
Which is, what's that called?
Hannah's better off saying that. She can say it with the Italian accent.
Gruppo Biblica Università.
Okay. I won't get you to teach me that because that will take probably about 15 minutes.
University Bible Group in English.
Sorry?
University Bible Group in English.
Yeah, great. And I guess the obvious question, which I think you've started to answer already, is why Italy? Actually, sorry, I asked too. I mean, why mission anyway? Why why do you want to spend your full time doing that instead of occupational therapy and engineering? And then why Italy?
Yeah, sure. I'll answer the first one then. Why ministry at all? For both of us, I think, but I think definitely for me was during university and being part of the AFES, I just realised that if Jesus is Lord and He's Lord of my life, then I want to spend my life living for Him and telling others about Him. And I just wanted to do more of my time doing that. And so, engineering was taking up a bunch of time, and I wanted to spend more time telling people about Jesus. So, and Hannah's keen as well. So, both in it together. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And why Italy in particular?
I think Italy has kind of been somewhere that we've both had connection with, particularly myself, a connection with in the past, and an awareness of, or a connection with people there through exchange and language learning. And so I've sort of seen firsthand the openness to talk about spiritual things, and also the real need for the gospel. I was surprised when I went there on exchange to discover that it was not full of Christians as I had imagined at 16. Italy would be. So, so that, plus also then later on, when Jason was doing his ministry training apprenticeship at UWA, then he came into contact with someone who'd been doing ministry in Italy that said, there's really great need here, and particularly for student work and building up future leaders for the churches to strengthen the evangelical churches. So, those two things together, and we thought, this could be something God might have us do.
Wow, great. Yes, I mean, just as you're speaking, it reminds me of Paul saying, God opened a door for us, to proclaim the gospel. It sounds like God has done that in Italy, but also in particular with you guys. So that's really encouraging. So at the moment, I guess as you prepare, so you're looking at next year to actually to actually go relocate the whole family to Italy. Is that right?
Yes, so there's a little bit longer, probably slightly longer than that, because there's 6 months of training at the start of next year, and then another 6 months where we're doing some connecting with churches and individuals. before we go, and also getting things in order. But yeah, it would be the start of 2022. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yep. Great.
Yeah.
I guess as you're in the process, it's quite a long process, particularly with CMS, quite thorough. But what are some of maybe a couple of the challenges and joys for you guys now?
Yeah, I think on the joys front, it's been very encouraging to have a few churches who've just said, yes, we want to support you, we're praying for you, and even our pastor just saying, we'd love to send you and we want to make a way for this to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the challenges?
Well, I think actually there's some other joys.
Oh, there are more joys.
Yeah, that's like
Excellent.
It's been really great for us to have the opportunity to chat with non-Christian family members.
That's true.
Yep. And God's really been so gracious to us and given us lots of opportunities over the past couple of years to speak to family members about Jesus, and even with a couple of them to read through the Bible with them, one of the Gospels. So that's just been such a kindness of God's that we've had that opportunity to do that before going.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's been really great as well.
I think on the challenges front, we've faced a couple of setbacks in terms of timing, and as everyone is at the moment.
Setbacks.
We've got those setbacks.
God's timing.
Yeah, turns out that things wouldn't have worked out very well given the current situation anyway. So that was challenging to process, and also just thinking through how are we going to find the church partners that we need. That's something that we're praying about a lot. And because it's not easy.
Oh, we've been learning a lot during this time.
We have.
And just growing in our ministry skills, but also just our own faith and character. I think God's provided lots of opportunities to teach us and prepare us, which I'm really thankful for.
And he's answering prayers, which is really encouraging too. Yeah.
Wonderful. And on the subject of prayer, I guess there's a few things there, but is there anything else in particular that we can, as a church, can be praying for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I think that we will continue to grow over the next while. Or particularly that we'll be able to find church partners. And sorry, you have a young girl and a hot tea. And I think that we'll be able to process some of the changes that we might have to make as well. Would be helpful to be praying.
You've got some suggestions too, Elena.
And if people want to support you in prayer, like as individuals, I mean, and financially, how can they go about that?
So the best way to do that, I'll send you a link, and
we'll put it in the description below of the video.
Yep. I think you might have to add that later. I can't do it.
That's right. No, that'd be good. So that will so you guys will send out a prayer letter or something like that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we'll send one out.
That's great. Well, that's the end of my questions, except we always ask one more question. Anybody that we interview at church, what is your favourite food?
Favourite food?
Yeah.
Oh, well, lasagna is pretty high on the list for me, and we had that last time.
You go to the right country.
I know. The Hannah's gluten-free, so it's...
Oh,
yeah.
Italians are very good at gluten-free, though, out of necessity.
Oh, really? Fantastic. Yeah. What's your favourite food?
Mine would probably have to be pasta as well.
Pasta? Like gluten-free pasta?
Pizza and pasta.
So you eat a lot of gluten-free pizza and pasta?
Yeah, we make our own pizza bases.
Yep. Oh, there you go. Well, that's a praise point, isn't it? You're going to Italy. Now, what about Elena? Does she have a favourite food?
Oh, she just likes food.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Except for zucchini.
Yeah.
Except for zucchini, right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks heaps for your time. I really appreciate it, and definitely for brightening our service as we have a bit of a snapshot of God's mission with you guys. So I really appreciate that. Well, we'll pray for you now in the service.
Yep.
And I'll pray now as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Father God,